Well, right now we've got the former DCW heavyweight champion, and I'll just say this, one of the best, Mr. Jack Passion. What's going on, Jack? Welcome
How's
to
it
the
going?
show, baby.
How's it going, sir? It's a pleasure to be here. How are you tonight?
Oh man, getting to talk to Jack Passion is like getting to talk to the brilliant one. It's just great. I mean, I love talking to myself. So. But welcome to the show, man. Like I'm looking through. You've been in wrestling since what, 2023?
Yeah, so I started training in July of 2023, and I made my debut for DCW about a month later in a battle royal.
Wow. Now, what year? I mean, so 2023. What show was that you made your debut at the Battle Royal?
That was, I believe, it was the Foley Music Hall. It has it wasn't the one with the black and white checkered floor. It was a different one. And I remember going there. They were filming 4 episodes of television, two on Saturday and two on Sunday. And as I went in there, I didn't have any gear, didn't know anybody. And I went in after just a couple weeks of training, and I sat down and introduced myself to Brent and Tommy, and Scott Armstrong happened to be sitting there. And they were just telling him a little bit about me. He saw the way I was moving in the ring, just training before one of the shows. And he said, "Hey, do you have any gear?" And I said, "No, I have nothing." He said, "Do you have like tights or shorts, just like something plain that you could put like something over it?" I said, "Yeah, I can go look." And he goes, "All right, go find something and get back with me tomorrow." So I come back the next day with white Under Armour spandex, black shorts, and a t-shirt. And he goes, "Do you have like boots or anything?" And I said, "No, like all I was wearing at that point was the white basketball shoes to training. I didn't have wrestling shoes or boots or anything like that." So he goes, "All right, give me 1 second." So he goes into his car and he grabs a pair of kick pads, one of his first kick pads that he ever wore when he was just starting out in the business as well. He said, "Hey man, why don't you put these on for tonight?" And in the back of my mind, I'm freaking out because I just met this guy and he's giving me his gear that he wore at one time just for me to make my debut here. And that first night was the most nervous maybe I'd ever been in my entire life for any kind of sporting event. And when I got out to the ring and started getting hit and kicked, I realized how real the adrenaline was. And then the next day, all I thought was, how can I get more of this? How can I get more of this feeling and go back and entertain the fans and be able to go out and show that I appreciate and I love what people have done before me in order for me to get to the position that I'm in today. So my introduction was a positive one. I was very nervous. It wasn't perfect, but I got to do something that I'd always wanted to try, and that was be a professional wrestler.
Man, that's awesome. Like when I look at it, Scott Armstrong, Brad Armstrong, one of my favorites. One of the greats. I thought probably one of the top three workers in the business, if not the best. But getting to work with Scott Armstrong, him doing that, I mean, that just had to make you feel really good.
It gave me a sense of, when I was first starting, I always told people, I said, "Hey, listen, if this truly is not for me, like if I'm not getting the hang of this, if I'm not understanding the fundamentals and the basics of what we're doing, please tell me and I will remove myself from the situation in order for somebody else to fill my spot and have the position to make this mean more than what it already is." And every time I ask somebody, they go, "Nope, just stick with it. Keep training. Don't give up. Just do what you're doing and continue to work hard." And that's what I've tried to do since that day is just take the advice from everybody that I meet in the business, whether they've been in the business for 5 minutes or 50 years. I think everybody has something to contribute to my life. And whether it's a positive interaction or a negative interaction, I'm always learning something every day from people in the business. And I think it's been a truly life-changing experience. And I'm very grateful for the position that I'm in today. And even to just be sitting here talking to you, I think this has just been an incredible ride for the less than 2 years that I've been involved. And I'm very excited to see where it goes after this.
Well, I mean, it's always great. And I'm just saying this. I was looking at your resume and I see that you let that scallywag, my former client, Mac Daddy Duds, even get into your training. Look, no, I love Mac Daddy, man. Mac Daddy and me, we go way back. As a matter of fact, he was the first guest on this episode. I mean, on this podcast. Tell me a little bit about Mac Daddy. How do you feel about Mac Daddy? And because he brings a lot to the table, he's got a lot of wisdom in the wrestling business and a great mind part as well.
To have an active veteran amongst a group of guys and girls who are just starting to get their feet wet in this business is one of the most important things that you could possibly have. And to have a guy like Mac Daddy Duds with us consistently on a week-to-week basis, just giving back because he thinks that's the right thing to do, is so appreciated by everybody that is within the company and training at the Diamond Mine Wrestling Academy. You know, one of the biggest things that he ever did coming in was introduce the concept of making things your own. And he would have us line up and basically do drills or do, even if it's just dropping an elbow or dropping a leg, whatever it is, training these different moves, but putting your own spin on it. And I feel like that's something that he's been able to do very well over the course of his career, is put a spin on traditional old school wrestling and make it more entertaining for the people that pay a ticket to see what we do. So I think he's been incredibly influential. I'm very fortunate to have met the guy, and I'm looking forward to stepping in the ring with him one more time and mixing it up now that I'm a little more experienced and relaxed in the wrestling ring.
Man, this has been almost a decade since me and Mac Daddy got tied up. It was on my actual first podcast because he was surprised I knew who he was from Kentucky, that he was Matt Winters. And he was just like, yeah, I'll come on the podcast. And we did it. He was like my first guest on that podcast. So it's crazy that he was the first guest on both my podcasts, which the first podcast was King of Wrestling Podcast. But we talked about that. And me and him tried to run a story on that in another company. Just some stuff come up and I had to get out. But Mac Daddy has always been one of my good friends in wrestling that I consider a friend. Now, you've been in DCW, like you said, since 2023. You've been around Scott Armstrong. I'm going to have to ask about Mario, Super Mario, Mr. Brent Ladner. How's he doing? Give me a little insight on Brent, and then we're going to talk about Tommy in just a second.
Absolutely. Without Brent, I would not be in the professional wrestling business. He was the first person that I ever spoke to, and he was the one that gave me the opportunity to ever learn about anything that we do right now. And without Brent, there is no Jack Passion. And I owe everything to that guy. To everybody that I first started out with, I mean, that original crew of people, they know exactly who they are. I would not be who I am today without them. And Brent, with everything that is on his plate, with his family, with his work life, his personal life, with wrestling, he finds a way to juggle it all. And the guy is not giving up and continues to learn, as any individual would be going through the ups and downs of owning a professional wrestling business. And I think that he's done the best that he can. And with more help from people that care about him, he'll be able to continue to grow the company further into the future than anything that I think people will expect from him or anybody else on the Gulf Coast. He has a vision for the company, and he's had a vision for it for a while. Now it's just executing on specific goals in order to get the company to the next level. And we're trying, and I know he's trying. And like I said, without him, I would never have been able to start in this business. I reached out to other wrestling companies, and they either gave me the cold shoulder or wanted to haze me on my first day in. And I don't believe that that's what this business was about. And he gave me a real opportunity to learn around like-minded people. So I got nothing but love for the guy. He's been great to me.
Now, Brent may not admit this, but I've known Brent for a little while. Me and Brent's been around each other for a good bit. So, and I mean, like when I first got my start in wrestling, Brent was right there. I mean, he saw it when it happened. So I got that. Now, I don't know if you ever heard this story or been around Ryan Razors to hear this story, but one night at another company, I'm not going to mention the name of it, but I came out and I saw Mr. Wet Gin sitting in the front row or second row, whatever it was. And I pointed him out and I said, "Did you have to come over here to see a real wrestling show?" And Ryan Razor's eyes got so big. And he's like, "Did he really just say that?" But apparently he just didn't know how me and Tommy go back and forth. Anyway,
Right.
Tommy knew that I was probably going to call him out as soon as I saw him. But go ahead and let's hear about Tommy.
Yeah, Tommy, another guy who, again, the first time I ever met him, he was still running Gamers and Geeks. And the first time that I got to debut for DCW television as Jack Passion was in October of 2023. Myself and Ryan Razors, funny that you mentioned him, we made our debuts against one another at the same night. And it was incredible. And again, we went out there and did no more than 5 minutes of actual work. And I remember getting in the back being blown up to high hell. And we're both huffing and puffing. But it was good, tired. Like we couldn't believe that we had just experienced that moment together and done that. And that was something that was really special. And again, I'll never forget that. But without Tommy, I never would have gotten that first opportunity to be on TV outdoors in a singles match. Like my first match happened without a literal roof on it. It was in a parking lot. And it's different, right? Like it's not better or worse than being in a stadium or an arena or whatever. It's just I got to wrestle outside under the lights in front of a crowd full of people in a blacktop. And without Tommy, I never would have gotten that opportunity. So again, another guy who was always very kind to me, always very gracious, took care of me whenever I spoke to him. And in fact, I'll give him a lot of credit for this. Tommy, at one point, was holding sessions for our training for the Diamond Mine Wrestling Academy at one of his locations. And he gifted us his residency to use as a training facility. And that's a very selfless act because Tommy didn't have to do that. Tommy didn't have to do a lot of the things that he did, but that was one of the kinder things that he ever did for myself and the crew. And I'll forever be grateful to that guy. He pushed me. He pushed me in the direction of, hey, I know you'd like to be good at this thing, but I'm going to give you the opportunity to try and be great. And that's exactly what he did. He pushed me in a direction to where now when I show up to training and I see Scott doing his thing and I see other people doing their thing, I just shut my mouth and open my ears. And that's what I've tried to do the last 2 years is just listen to the flood of information that has come from the people that are involved in Diamond Championship Wrestling and try and take the best parts of everybody that I possibly can and make it my own. And so, yeah, Tommy, always been a great guy to me. And I hope he's doing nothing but good things right now.
Yeah, because he did step away from the wrestling business, and we wish nothing but the best for Tommy.
Mm-hmm.
And moving on, I just want to get in before we get into any more of the meat of the stuff. Let me go ahead and get my sponsor out of the way before they don't pay me no more. Let's go ahead. StrongCoffeeCompany.com. Go check them out. Use the promo code ATI Wrestling. Get 20% off at checkout. I'm just going to recommend you get the Cinnamon Toast Crunch. That strong coffee is great. It will get you awake. It's a protein coffee as well. Healthy. Go check it out. StrongCoffeeCompany.com. Use the promo code ATI Wrestling. Now that we're back, you've wrestled for Legacy Championship Wrestling, right?
That's correct.
Steve Starr, Gil Calkin. Did you get any interaction with Steve Starr?
Very little, other than just saying hello and talking to him briefly about what was going on the day of, and just again thanking him for the opportunity to be able to go out and do what I do, or at least try and do what I do. And yeah, cool guy. Not much more to say than that.
Yeah, I mean Steve Starr's the one that trained me. So
really,
yeah. So
very cool.
Yeah, he picked me out. I mean, it was handpicked. It wasn't like I said, "Hey, I want to do this." He actually wanted to train me to be a ref, and he gave me a good start in the business. Love Steve, man. Love Gil too. Because without them, I probably wouldn't be doing the managing everything else I do. So
So let me
Steve's
flip this around on you real quick. When did you first get started in the wrestling business? What was your introduction from going from enjoying the product on the outside to then getting introduced and working on the inside?
well, let's just go back because it actually goes back to Billy D. McLean and Brother Heavenly Love in Battle Zone Championship Wrestling back in 2000. I want to say 99, 2000 era. That I was going to go train. Life got in the way. And then, you go on and you do things for a long time. And I'm old, so I'll admit it. And that was in 2000. I think it was 2000 when I was trying to go to Battle Zone Championship Wrestling, which is different now. It's still around. Battle Zone is still around, believe it or not. But I didn't go or was not able to go. Life got in the way. And I think it was in 2018, I started a podcast because my job cut overtime. They cut overtime, so I was like, I'm bored. I started doing podcasts, and I was just like, nobody does independent wrestling. Nobody interviews independent wrestlers. So I started doing that and just going to shows and checking them out. And Steve came up to me, and he's like, you'd make a good ref. And I was like, all right. And he's like, show up to training. And I was like, okay. And I started going to training. Now, when I say going to training, I'm not talking about 20 minutes down the road. I was going an hour and a half, 2 times a week to train. And
that's what I'm doing right now. Hour and a half, 2 times a week.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's just like, because where I live in Mississippi, there's no independent wrestling close. Like, I'm an hour from the closest independent wrestling show. Like, literally, I've been doing it for 6, 7 years. And literally, last Friday night, I was in Conehatta, Mississippi. And that was the closest show I've ever done. And that was 30 minutes from my house. That's the closest it's ever done. Rest of them, hour and a half to 3 hours. And I'm usually, like, up until I had to get out of it, I was on the road every weekend, 3-hour drives every weekend, 5-hour drives, and I'm sure the feeling with driving and stuff like that. Once you get used to it, though, there's nothing like it.
There's no better feeling. You put on a good Netflix show. Again, hopefully nobody's listening to this that's in law enforcement. Or you're putting on good music. You find a way to kill the time, right? And
exactly.
It's very therapeutic. It really is.
Well, me and my wife one week, and before we get back onto you and put the spotlight back on you, this is probably 2020. It actually was 2020. I won't forget the weekend. We went and did a show in McGee, Mississippi on a Friday night. McGee's probably an hour and a half away from my house. Let me make sure I'm getting this right. Yes. All right. So Friday night, McGee, Mississippi. Drove to McGee an hour and a half. Came home, got home about midnight on Friday, went to bed, and this was when Elevate Pro was still running. Got up and went to the Elevate Pro show the next night, which was in New Orleans, which is 3 hours away. So we get down there. We get back at 1 a.m. Thunder Rosa, who I'd interviewed on the podcast, was with NWA at the time. And we had tickets to NWA and go over there and be able to do that deal because of her. Had to go to Atlanta the next day, which is on a Sunday. Okay, so we get home at 1 a.m. on Saturday night or Sunday morning. Then have to get up at 5 a.m. to drive to Atlanta because it's 5 hours away. The show starts. We got all our introduction. We got to meet Ricky Starks, Nick Aldis, Marty Skrull. I can't remember who all. Zicky Dice. Zicky, actually, I met him there, and he got on the podcast. And they filmed the first episode. The first episode of NWA Power back then and I got a message on my phone. This is the reason I'll never forget it, because it says plane crash. Kobe Bryant died. It was the day Kobe Bryant died, and that's how I remember that. That weekend, and then we drove from Atlanta that night back home. Got home at 1 a.m. A lot of 1 a.m.s there, and then woke up and went to work the next day all day. So there was no sleep that weekend.
All for the love of the business.
Yes, and you just don't want to miss an opportunity. Like if you see an opportunity, if you're given it may not look big to somebody else, but it could be a game changer for you. You just never know. Which brings me to my next thing. I'll talk about Kobe Bryant. It brings me to my next thing. You won a rap battle at DCW, didn't you? So let me get this. How did you get into rap battling, and how did this rap battle come up at DCW?
So when I was first started getting into the wrestling business, I looked at the market, and not just locally, but I was looking nationally and globally. And I said, okay, what is something in professional wrestling that absolutely nobody is doing at this point in time? And I said, well, nobody's singing their own song to the ring. And I went, okay, I've got a creative writing background. I've got some stage presence from acting for the past 21 years. Why not try and put those two things together and develop something that is literally made for a pro wrestling audience and an arena setting? And that's when I started writing my entrance theme. And after that, people started cracking on me left and right, saying this, saying that. And one of the main people who was doing it is a guy by the name of Buzzsaw Benelli. And I have known Buzzsaw Benelli now since I started training with him at the Diamond Mine Wrestling Academy. And in February of 2023 or 2024, I'm sorry, during one of my matches with somebody who was from the Tennessee territories, Buzzsaw Benelli came out and attacked me from behind. And that spawned an 11th month rivalry that carried DCW to the end of the year. Now, in that time, he would come out and mock me for my rapping. So finally, one day he went, I'll beat you in anything. And he said, you know what? I'll even beat you in a rap battle. And I went, are you sure you want to do that? Because I've been doing this for a little while, and I know I've got one song that I repeat, but I am much more than just one hit. And Buzzsaw Benelli found out the hard way that, man, if you're going to swing at the king, you best not miss, because that was a long night for Mr. Benelli. He came out to the ring, and he had index cards prepared. He couldn't even do it off the fly. And, I challenge anybody, if you'd like to do it live, I wouldn't do it in a pre-recorded setting, but if anybody would like to do a rap battle live and test their knowledge against me, I've got no problem doing that. I just want you to know what's coming ahead of time. And that is nothing but verbal and linguistic ruthlessness. And if you think you're up to the challenge, then by all means, step up to the plate. And I hope you hit that fastball, because it's coming. So that's where that rap battle came from.
We're fitting a rap battle right now because I can't sing. I can't rap. I can't do nothing now. But I do like. Look, now you done brought it out. So, all right, Mr. Cocky, Mr. Arrogance, drop a beat right now. I want to hear something.
Drop a beat.
Or all right, you ain't gonna drop a beat. I don't know. Like, I'm not. My wife says I'm not cool. She says, I don't know shit. So, do your little rap. Do your rap.
All right, I'll give you one. I'll give you one just for you. Ready?
Yes.
All right. Let's see. You coming after the greats? I'll leave you on the back burner. I'll drop you on your head and have you looking up at Brandon Turner.
Oh,
you coming to the ring? Man, we've already won. How are you going to step to Jack Passion and the Brilliant One?
Oh, man, that's what I'm talking about, baby. You tore that up. All right, I'll give you that. I'm going to leave you alone, Eminem. I'm going to leave you alone. I'm going to leave you alone on that one.
All for the fun of it, man. As long as it's entertaining, that's all I care about.
Hey, that's my thing. Like, a lot of people, I don't know if you saw my post on Facebook a while back. I said, what's the difference between sports entertainment and wrestling? And Joe Kane, God, I love you, Joe. You know that. He had me and Cole Offenson, I guess, apparently follow requests at the same time. I don't know how that happened. But Joe takes a picture and he says, the top one is wrestling, which was Vladimir Koloff. He says, the bottom one's sports entertainment, which was me. And he says, you two are up to something. And I was just like, yeah, Joe, you got me. But, and I know you've been around Joe Kane before.
I have not met Joe. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I don't know who Joe Kane is. Maybe that's
You
my
have
own
not?
fault.
Okay.
No.
I'm not going to ruin it. I'm not going to ruin his other name, but I'll just say Joe Kane, the Prince of Pain. You're great. We'll talk about that when we get done with the episode. We'll talk about that. But anyway, now I don't got flustered, man. I don't lost my mind. I don't know where I'm at. But no,
All right, let me ask you something. Let me ask you one more because I like to flip it around on the host sometimes.
Hey,
when least
I love it. I love it.
How did you get paired off with Vladimir Koloff? How does a guy who comes all the way from Russia down to the Gulf Coast, how does he get the assistance from the Brilliant One himself? How's that connection made?
All right, let's just say this. Me and Vladimir Koloff have a very tumultuous history. From as far as I can remember, we've never gotten along. But at the end of the day, when it came down to it, I'd always tried to groom him into my stable, Breeding Incorporated. That it never worked. But at some point, when you got the Brilliant One, when you got one of the greatest managers in wrestling history, and then you got one of the top wrestlers on the independent scene, I put him out there as the greatest. Eventually, you're going to get together. Eventually, you're going to do whatever it takes to win. And when you find yourself in that rut where you can't win, you can always look over your shoulder and say, oh, there's the Brilliant One. I'll do whatever it takes to win. And that's what he had to do with Paul Wright. Paul Wright has been a nuisance to him for as long as we can remember. And he had to seal the deal. And I can tell you right now, it shocked a lot of people. There was a lot of people on the Gulf Coast that would tell him and me, the only way that I will boo Vladimir Koloff is if you manage him. Well, guess what? I'm managing him now and you're booing him. That's what we want. But, that's kind of how that goes. And, there's that deep history with the Brilliant One and Vladimir. He's cannonballed me. Have you ever taken a cannonball before?
No, but I've seen people do them, and I've seen Koloff do them, and they don't look fun at all.
Let me tell you something. He gave me a cannonball one night. When his body hit mine, I promise you, my soul left my body. It was not a fun night. And I was just like, that's why I kept trying to get him on my side, was because I kept getting tired of him beating me up. Me and Mac Daddy Duds, that's how we won the DCW championship one time. This was back, many moons ago, under different ownership. But Mac Daddy won the King of Diamonds briefcase. And Koloff had been in a triple threat tag team ladder match or whatever, TLC match. And we just went out there and Mac Daddy hit him in the head with a beer bottle. Because me and Mac Daddy like our beverages. Hit him in the head with the beer bottle. And I took my jacket off and, well, as you know, I'm a referee. I had my stripes on. And I counted the 1, 2, 3. So, and there was nothing they could do about it because I still had my referee license in Mississippi, even though I was a manager. We had it all planned out. So the history goes way back with me and Koloff.
That's smart. Now you got your drink there. What's your drink of choice over there? What you got?
Well, Mac Daddy will like this one. Voodoo Ranger Tropic Force. Now I don't know if you can see it, but because it's the can is green, so if
I
you
was gonna
dip,
say, is it invisible? I couldn't figure out what was going on.
if the can is green, so that is what's behind me. So I guess you understand now where it's coming from. But
Yep,
it's a
I
Voodoo
gotcha.
Ranger Tropic Force. Now, do
Cool.
you
Yeah.
like IPAs?
I do. I do.
Now, IPAs are my favorites. I like Dr. Juice. Me and Matt like the Tropic Force and the Juice Force.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
then
I don't get to IPAs often. I'm more of I started getting into old fashions last year, so I'm a big fan of the old fashioned. Um, I used to be a beer drinker when I was younger, but not so much anymore. It's kind of went to some whiskey, maybe a little bit of vodka every now and then. It just depends on what the night brings. It's different all the
you don't want to give me no whiskey,
time.
man. Yeah, whiskey ain't good for me. I like my little IPAs. I'll take a couple of them and going with it. Before we continue on, Lo, let me go ahead and cheat our sponsor out there one more time. Let's do Strong Coffee. Go to strongcoffeecompany.com, use the promo code ATI Wrestling and receive 20% off. Get that Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I'm telling you, that is great. The Snickerdoodle was good too. I don't know how the other ones are, but the Snickerdoodle and the Cinnamon Toast Crunch are my best. Now, the Cinnamon Toast Crunch was sold out. I think they're back. So go check it out. Strongcoffeecompany.com. It's like protein coffee. Have you ever had protein coffee?
No, I used to drink regular coffee all the time, and then I just cut it cold turkey one day. I'm not a coffee guy anymore.
Well, I didn't know about protein coffee until my niece told me about it. And
Is it
like
good?
it's yes, it is. And it wakes you up faster than regular coffee.
No.
It's got protein, so it's a lot healthier. It's plant-based stuff. Check it out. I mean, it's really good. The Cinnamon Toast Crunch, though, I mean, did you ever eat Cinnamon Toast Crunch when you was a kid?
Oh, absolutely.
So when you got done eating the Cinnamon Toast Crunch, you had to drink the water. I mean, the milk. And it was just the water. Like
I don't know. Hey, listen, from the north, we use milk. Maybe in the south, we use water. I don't know.
Well, Craig off Friday was supposed to use water because they didn't have no milk. But but the milk, like when you drink the milk, is the best milk in the world. Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Now, my wife would disagree and she'd say the Cocoa Pebbles, but no, Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I'm a cinnamon person anyway, but
well, the problem with the Cocoa Pebbles, they get, obviously all cereal gets like mushy and like it's like soggy, right? But those Fruity Pebbles, they're so tiny and flaky, they get soggy quicker than any other cereal, and it kills it right off the bat. I just soggy cereal, forget about it. Move on. Next.
Agree. I agree fully. There is a couple things, you talked about your acting. We talked about you being DCW champion and whatnot. I want to go this. You got a list of wrestlers. I mean, you've had at least, 40 to 50 matches. I want you to give me two guys you really enjoyed being in the ring with.
Fuego del Sol was an absolute pleasure.
Old Fuego.
Huh?
I said, old Fuego.
Fuego, man. That guy. What? So again, you see the stuff on TV, you see the guys and girls in the major promotions flying around doing their thing, but until you're able to experience something like that in person, and then at the last minute be able to work with someone like that, it's just it's an unforgettable experience. And again, it taught me so much about myself. It showed me what I was good at, and it showed me all the things that I still need to improve on. And I'm still working on it from that day. And he taught me a lot about this business, especially in the ring. I mean, just the fluency that he had in between the ropes was just something that I had never experienced before. And when you're training and you're still learning how to work in the business, everything is either black or white, and you kind of have to paint your own canvas and add your own colors to it. And Fuego was the first person that I got into the ring with, and I felt the colors around me forming, and I felt the people were invested and engaged in the story that we were trying to tell. And so he would be the first person for sure. The second person, man, there's a lot of people. I would say Zane Stevens. And so when we first made our debut in the new building, the Bullet Bob Armstrong Memorial Arena in Theodore, Alabama for DCW, we had an episode where I had a match against an opponent and he had a match against an opponent. And as we were getting toward the end of the first episode, we realized that there was a technical issue and the first entire hour was unusable. It just, there was something that didn't work out in their favor and they basically had to start over from scratch. So as I'm unlacing my boots, I'm pulled into the office and I met with a couple of the executives of the company. And they said, "Hey, listen, we'd like you to go out there and do 10 minutes with Zane Stevens in the next hour." And to me, I'm like, I've been doing this for 6-7 months. I just had a match. I'm blown up again. My boots are halfway off. I'm not ready for this at all. So then we start talking and we get out to the ring, and I realize that it's going to be a very physical encounter because, I mean, I know you know Zane. And
You're no Zane.
It's different. It's just another grown man at the end of the day. It's a grown man who's
it's one of the guys that is not, his stuff's not going to look bad no matter what.
Right. Are we allowed to curse on this program, or is that
you can cuss, you can fucking say whatever the hell you want to. This is uncensored, baby.
Zane Stevens is not a guy to be fucked with. And I think everybody kind of knew that coming in. And I always knew that. And he was one of the first people when I started that told me, "Hey, listen, like, don't give up on this. There's a real path for you here." And I always listened to him and I always took his advice. And I think he's a very intelligent guy when it comes to this space. And again, being able to go out there, and then at the end of a 15-minute match that wasn't even supposed to happen, the people gave him and I a reaction that I never thought I'd get in a million years. And that was, let them fight. Zane's been doing this for 20 years and he never got to let them fight chant. And to be able to do that with him and create that kind of magic and chemistry off of a completely fluke situation was another test of myself. Like, now I've been put in this situation multiple times where I've had to wrestle more than one time in one night. And now you learn how to pace yourself and you learn how to breathe and communicate. And working with Zane that first night in, it just taught me how to control myself. Up until that point, it's all fire and, no pun intended, but passion and energy and all these different things. But there is a gear shift that happens in wrestling, and you have to know when to be able to change gears. And Zane was a very influential part of my upbringing in this business, learning how to gear shift and be in control. So Fuego del Sol and Zane Stevens.
I can just say this about Zane, and this may piss off some people. I'm gonna tear that wall back a little bit, but Zane's one of those guys that's believable. Everything he does makes it look good. And he does go out of his way to make it look good. And I've enjoyed, me and Zane have a podcast episode that was never aired. Maybe if I can find that somewhere, I'm going to air it because it was fun. Well, we haven't, but Zane is great. All right. Is there any more? Or is it just them two?
You're expert too. I mean, I can keep going. I mean, listen, I could go down that entire list and tell you. So what I've done from the very beginning is I put down the date at which I wrestled my opponent, and then I put down a sentence or two after every match or every major interaction that I've ever had. And I put the date, I put the promotion, and I just write down a sentence or two about my experience with this person and what this told me. And I was listening to Chris Jericho. I think he put out a book that was like 30 years of his life. And
yeah.
And again, it's just little samplings of matches and his talking about his experience throughout the business. And I heard of that and I was like, that's a great idea, because with all the injuries that you suffer and everything surrounding CTE, you just never know what you're going to remember and what you're going to forget. So I thought to myself, okay, well, every time after I have a match for anywhere, I'll write down my opponent. I'll write down whether or not I won or lost. I'll write down the company and then the date and a couple short sentences talking about the things that I could do better, but also the things that I learned from those individuals that I worked with. So, I mean, we could go through you could pick a name on that list and I can give you something that I learned from that experience in a heartbeat, because every single person has had a positive impact on my life that's on that list.
Okay, well, I got one. Okay,
go ahead.
You said you got a positive experience from everybody you saw on that list.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, he's about to hate me, but I'm about to say the name. I'm about to say it. It's coming out. Travis Mason.
Yep, absolutely. So Travis Mason.
That's all I could say. Travis was absolutely sorry. It's over, Travis. Anyway.
So Travis was my second singles match in Diamond Championship Wrestling after Ryan, and he was my first match in the Bullet Bob Armstrong Memorial Arena. That match never got recorded. So what happened in the second hour? Say again?
It shouldn't have, but I'm just joking.
Hey, but you know what? You live and learn, right? It is what it is. You can't go back. You can only go forward. Me and Travis had our match, and after that, Zane Stevens. That was the same night. So
damn! So we just connected that right there by accident. Huh?
Yes. So in DCW, my first 3 singles matches were Ryan Razors, Travis Mason, and then the same night Zane Stevens. And again, me and Travis went out there, blew ourselves up in 6 minutes, and had a blast. And I appreciate the fact that was the first time people had got to see me make my entrance and make my rap. And without Travis, that night would not be nearly as special as I remember it. So I got nothing but good things to say about him too. He's always been kind and nice to me, and I hope the Lone Wolf is doing his thing and is successful on the scene right now.
I love busting his balls, and I do it on a regular basis. And when I come and see him in the locker room, as a matter of fact, I saw him in the locker room last Friday night. And I walk in, and he walks in, and I said, man. He's like, what is it, Brandon? I said, man, when did they start letting fans in the locker room? And he looks at me and he says, what do you mean? I said, I'm talking about you. I said, wait. I said, the doors don't open till 6 and you're in here. What are you doing? So, I love busting his balls, but, and I hope he don't take it the wrong way. I tell him all the time, I'm messing with you. But yeah, there's a lot of guys I love being around, and that's the thing about it. We were, before we came on the air, we were talking about drama and stuff, try to keep ourselves separated from that. But there's a lot of guys that I look at that are putting in the work, and I've watched a lot of these guys grow and enjoyed it, like Andreas, Amp. I remember Andreas being in a costume battle royal in State Line, Mississippi, in front of 12 people. And like, he wasn't even, I think he was still in training. And, I can just kind of remember those moments, and just watching a lot of these guys come up is great. And I know that with you being at DCW, you've seen like Ryan Razors. You've seen Mac Daddy. You've been around Mac Daddy. You've not seen Mac Daddy come up. Mac Daddy's 105. But, you've seen that. What are some of the memories that you share that you've seen happen in the last 2.5 years?
In regards to what? Give me something more specific.
Just like somebody that has took your eye, like over the last couple of years that you've been around, that you saw come up in the business with yourself.
So currently right now, the person that I'm watching is Crusher Cottrell. That guy joined. So Crusher Cottrell, he is the current. Who's
Crusher? Like, I saw him on something, but come on, Crusher, you want to get in the ring? No, I'm just joking. Go ahead and fill it. Go ahead and fill everybody here.
Crusher Cottrell has he started joining us at the Diamond Mine Wrestling Academy in I believe it was or maybe early June of last year. And again, young guy, 18 years old, was playing Division two football, had Division one offers, played for Team USA as the starting center for the national high school team, traveled and played Japan and the European teams. And all the kid ever wanted to do was be a professional wrestler. So he finished out his college and he finished up one semester playing football and has taken up this full time. And to see not only his growth as an individual, but as a professional, and the way he has taken his health and his body seriously, that kid's on a whole different level right now. And in the next 3 to 5 years, he is going to be an unstoppable force anywhere he goes. I mean, such a committed young man, and has such an old soul perspective on life, and has been a very fascinating experience. Just the age gap between him and I. It's very interesting listening to the perspective of somebody who is just getting out of high school and seeing the world with fresh eyes, but has also had his own life experience. And I think with due time, and even now, like, he's the current Diamond Heavyweight champion. There's no denying that he's accomplished so much in such a short period of time. But that kid has so much more to do and so much more to grow. And I'm really looking forward to his progress and seeing where he goes next. More than anything else, I'm looking forward to getting back in the ring with him, because I am number one in DCW, and I would like to be the Diamond Heavyweight champion. And I'm going to do everything I can to get that championship title back, because more than anything else, that means more to me in this business than anything I could possibly achieve, is being the Diamond Heavyweight champion.
Well, you're right about one thing. I didn't realize he was 18 when I saw him. I thought he was like 45, 50.
18.
Yeah. So that's wild. Now, I'm just joking on that. I mean, I knew he was young. He also had a match with Fuego del Sol.
He did.
And you can probably check that out on YouTube, on Diamond Championship Wrestling's YouTube page. I believe it's DCW Synergy episode 5, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere around in there.
One of those, yes.
Yeah, episode 5 of 2025 is what I mean.
Yep.
So we're going to get ready to, start closing out here. And before we do, like I said, you better stick around at the end, because we got to talk about a couple of things.
Yes,
but
sir.
before we do, I like to do this on some episodes. I want to throw like 3 names out and just get your opinion on them. And let's start with, you said Buzzsaw Bonelli. You'd already talked about him. Let's see who else we can talk about. We talked
anyone
about
and
Brent.
Everyone.
We talked about Brent. We talked about Tommy.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Fresh blood at DCW. Let's talk about Flex Cannon.
Flex Cannon. Flex Cannon is a guy who has maybe more life experience, real world life experience in that company and maybe more than anybody I've ever met in my entire life. And the roller coaster of a life that he has been on, and not only has not given up, but has turned himself into a recognizable name here on the Gulf Coast, and now holds a championship title for Magnolia Championship Wrestling, and is being recognized for the hard work that he puts in. Now, again, just like everybody else, Flex Cannon is not perfect. Flex Cannon has a lot to learn about this business, and so does everybody else. But for him to have such success in the short time that he's been not only training but working his way through the Gulf Coast scene, I think is a testament to hard work and dedication for your craft. And I think that Flex Cannon is, again, one of those guys like we talked about with Zane Stevens. Man, you really don't want to push a guy like that too far, because if he snaps, good luck. You better pack a lunch, because it's going to be a long day. So Flex Cannon is not to be trifled with, and I wish him all the best, man. He's an intimidating guy. There's no doubt about it.
He is the MCW Mississippi champion. Go check it out. Up next, let's see. I don't know if you've ever been around him. Well, yes, you have. He was in DC. I mean, he was in DCW.
Mhm.
Let's go with Lucha Lacora.
So my very first day, so the same show that Scott Armstrong gave me his kick pads, I was working out in the ring with a couple of guys, and I believe it was Tony Donati and Andre Fabu, I think
Andre.
his name? Yes.
That Babu Andre.
Yes. The beautiful butterflies.
Yeah.
Fabulous butterflies? One of the
I think it is the Fabulous, but I remember meeting Fabu Andre back before he was with the tag team
Mhm.
because he had come to Battle Zone back in, I want to say 2020,
Yeah.
maybe 2019, somewhere around there. That was the first time I'd ever, but I think it is the Butterflies. I know it's the Butterflies, but I can't remember
Yeah.
what else.
Very talented guys, and they were basically showing us drills and different things that they were doing down in the South Florida area. And I remember we were kind of working around, and Lucha happened to be in the ring working with us, and he introduced me to this spinning drop kick that I now do in basically all of my matches that I've now dubbed the Helix kick. And the reason I call it the Helix kick is I feel like this, whatever the wrestling is, I do feel like it's in my DNA. Like I spend the majority of my time just watching film and studying. Like I was a huge socialite when I was younger, just would go out, party, anything but discipline myself to an area that I cared about and was passionate about. And Lucha showed me how to do this move. And now it's become one of my signature moves in every match that I do. And it's never something that I thought I'd be able to do. And again, it's another move that I look on the wrestling scene, both locally, nationally, and globally, that I don't see anybody doing that move. So I was like, okay, well then I'll do it. Why not? Right? It's different than what everybody else is doing. So I appreciate him for that. The second thing that he did that was positive for me was we had a show in Navarre, Florida, and we were all there, and none of us were really expecting to get paid because at that point we're still training, we're still learning at the Diamond Mine Wrestling Academy. And he made it a point of emphasis to make sure that everybody on that show got paid something. And he didn't have to do that. And the fact that he did was very, very important, I think, for everybody to understand that there is a level of respect and decorum that has to be paid, not only amongst the rookies, but the veterans, the people that work in front of the camera, behind the camera. You need to be able to reward people in some way for giving you their lives on, and their livelihoods. I mean, any day I could be in the ring and jump off the top rope and snap an ankle, and now I can't go to work during the week. And now I have nothing to show for it. At least with that little bit of money, I can pay for gas or pay for food, or God forbid something happens, I could put it towards some kind of bill. But for him to be able to introduce that move to me, the kick, and then help me get paid, that was a very, again, very selfless act that he didn't have to do. And I appreciate it to this day. He helped, again, without Lucha Lacora, without Tommy, without Brent, without Zane, Macda, all these guys, go down the line. You can name them all. Anybody in that list, there is no Jack Passion. And I want to make that very clear.
Well, I'm just going to make something very, very clear here. Brent, I didn't get paid for that show. I didn't get paid, so send me my money. But no. Yeah, but anyway, now my last name, and I'm going to explain the situation before I mention this last name, because this last name is a controversial name, in my opinion. But before I say the name, I'm just going to put the stance. This person has pissed a lot of people off and has, kind of made it look like he's been bullied. He's not at fault. There's nothing wrong. The only problem is there's a lot of people that's been there that's seen it. And I was one of them. Walter the Worm Alexander. who before you speak, he likes to play victim of everything. But in all honesty, he's burned every bridge in professional wrestling. And that's just my opinion. I'll let you speak.
Sure.
And
So
I
Walter,
want you to speak on your account with Walter. Not
yeah, that's all I got. I mean, again, everybody's gonna listen to this or not listen to this, and there are plenty of people who already have opinions of me, and I've been in this business for less than 2 years, and they either think I'm one of the coolest things they've seen, or they think I'm the biggest asshole that's ever hit the wrestling scene down here. So,
well,
uh,
being an asshole is not that's not a bad thing. You know,
ladies
my
and
wife
gentlemen,
has called me an asshole for 20 years, so I think it's a great thing.
yep. I mean, I've made it pretty clear since the beginning. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make a career out of this. And if I happen to make friends along the way who are like-minded individuals that also share my goals and dreams, then that's great. But I'm not going to get along with everybody. Not everybody's going to get along with me. But as long as we can be cordial and respectful, that's all I ask for. You know, this is a business at the end of the day. This is not personal. And I really hope that has come across here today. Walter the Worm Alexander was one of the people that I originally started with at the Diamond Mine Wrestling Academy. And before I even had a match with anybody, my second week training, him and I had a singles match that I have recorded and I have saved, and I'm not going to release it for a very, very long time because it's awful. It's one of those things where I look back and I go, wow, man, like you were.
Hey, release it when the Jetsons are running around with the space shuttle.
Yes. When we have a flying car, the people of the internet will see Jack Passion versus Walter Alexander. And again, going back, it's just funny to see the progression and the growth of actual training and learning what we do. And Walter, for 10 minutes, helped guide me and walk me through a match. And again, people will never see it, they'll never know, but my first ever singles match against anybody in any fashion with a bell, with a pinfall, was against Walter Alexander. So a guy who, again, I don't know his history. I don't know enough about Walter. I've been on a show. He's interviewed me a couple times, and I've only ever had.
That's not an interview, but go ahead.
Well, I've only ever had.
Joking. I'm joking. I know Walter's like that. I just say
For me personally, I've only ever had positive experiences with him, and he's only ever tried to promote myself and what I'm trying to promote within the wrestling business. And he has gone out of his way to shine a light on myself and other people that necessarily wouldn't be able to get that look because nobody else is doing that. Like I know he runs the Wrestling Wow page, and he will promote people within the wrestling business that are, they could be established or just getting their start. And the fact that he's willing to promote me and just show people that what I'm doing is something, it's just not nothing, there's something there. I appreciate that because at the end of the day, he doesn't have to promote me or anybody else, but he chooses to promote different talent within the industry. And again, even if you have one follower, 1,000, 10,000, a million, whatever it is, the fact that he is willing to do that for myself, it's just I'm very grateful to him. And I don't know everything that's happened in the past. I'm not affiliated with any of that kind of stuff. I just know that for me, he has gone out of his way to put a spotlight on myself and the company that I work for, and I very much appreciate that. And I hope he's doing well, and I hope he finds success, whether it's in the wrestling business or in some other line of work. I just hope he does well and is able to provide for himself and his family and continue to build a legacy for himself in whatever line of work that he chooses to be a part of.
I'm just gonna say this, and I'm gonna pull the curtain back a little bit and speak from the heart. Walter don't know how to spell wrestling. Wow. So I don't even know how you come up with the magazine. I'm just gonna say that he don't even know how to spell, Jack Passion. But no, just joking. Just joking. But no, really, I've enjoyed having you on, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed being on here.
Yeah, it's been
And
fun. Listen, I'll come back and we could talk about anything anytime. I love doing this kind of stuff. This has been great. Thank you for the opportunity.
we're going to definitely do this again. But before we get out of here, before we close out the show, let everybody know where they can find you on social media. And yeah, the floor is yours.
Yep. So you can find me on on Facebook, X, TikTok. You could find me at Jack Passion 2023 or at Jack Passion 2023. You can find me at my email, which is at jackpassion2023@gmail.com. Please send me a message or whatever. If you're in the wrestling business, you'd like to get in contact with me, please reach out to me. I'll try and get back to you as soon as possible. You can find me on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, wherever you can find music. The song Jack Passion is there. I'd appreciate it if you can give it a listen and a download. And again, give your honest feedback. I'm not in this to be perfect. I'm in this to be permanent. And I'd like to find a way to do that through the wrestling business. So if you'd like to support me in any way, please hit me up, give me a follow, and I'll follow you back. And let's stay in contact and talk about anything and everything to do with wrestling, life, whatever it is you want to talk about. Let's talk about it. I want you to know that you are seen, that you are heard, and that you are loved. And I just think that this has been great. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come on and talk with you for an hour or so. And I hope you all have a great night. And I hope you've enjoyed listening to the Brilliant One and the Rarity knock it out of the park, because that's all we do here, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Jack Passion. And we wish you nothing but the best and see nothing but the future. Like I said, I'll say this. You look good. You're $1 million, baby. So we wish you nothing but the best. And we'll definitely have you back on there. There's no doubt.
Wonderful. Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate being on, and I hope you have a great night. Thank you.